Welcome back, family. So I've been getting really back into film photography this year as a whole. I've been into film photography for like 5+ years at this point, but it kind of went dormant as as film prices continue to skyrocket, as cameras continue to get more expensive. I've just kind of shelved the hobby for a while. But last year in 2024, I really started to get back into it heavily. And I found a whole new love and appreciation for it, even more so than I already had. And as long as I've been shooting film, I've also been developing it and scanning it in-house as well. And all of that has kind of just reignited my love for film photography as a whole. I shot something like 30 to 40, between 30 and 40 rolls in 2023 or 2024. And I'm hoping to double that possibly this year. I want to shoot as much film as possible. I want to try out many new film stocks. But for today's video, I thought it would be a fun time to go through my analog camera lineup for 2025. This isn't quite all of the film cameras that I have. I have a pretty deep collection at this point, but these are the ones that are kind of my workhorses that I've been using throughout 2024 and that I see myself using a good bit into this year. And it's not just going to be photo cameras for the record. We're going to go through my point and shoots first, then over to my SLRs, then to my instant cameras, and then as a bonus, I'm gonna throw in a couple of the tape camcorders that I'll be using this year. Starting out with the point and shoots now, I've got three that are actually part of the same family, which is the Canon SureShot family. And these really aren't anything super exciting. They're not super high end or anything like that. They don't give mind-blowing results, but when they do nail focus, they are really good. And actually, I've really shot a lot of my favorite photos on these cameras this year. They're so easy to take anywhere, take it out of your pocket, point and shoot, and you get a lot of those disposable camera type pictures that have that same kind of in the moment, slice of life charm, I guess, if you say something like that, if you want to be pretentious about it. Getting into the first camera, we have the Canon SureShot 60. I really love this one. It has that kind of gold finish on it, looks very 2000s. We've got a pretty basic little mode dial here, and we've got a date function. I'll put some pictures that I've shot with this camera up. I've had this one for probably 4 or 5+ years at this point. A lot of the kind of bruises and battle scars that it has are from me. I've dropped this thing out of my truck several times and it keeps chugging. It's starting to sound a little ill, if you know what I mean. Like when I load it with film, it auto rolls and it has a bit of a weird sound to it that it hasn't always had. So this one might be on its way out soon and it will be sorely missed. I think I've shot the most rolls through this one this year. Really love this little guy, and we'll move on to the next one. The next camera I'm rocking with in 2025 is the Canon SureShot Telemax. This thing's really sharp and it comes complete with some cute little sticker bomb accents. I've actually found this one 2 or 3 times in the wild. I kept the best one for myself, you already know, but the other two I pretty much just gave away because I got them all for like $5. And again, I've had this one for years. I really like how stealthy this one looks. I like how the design of it is. It looks very like 80s, 90s to me. And when it does hit, it delivers some really good results. Our third and final point and shoot is going to be the Canon SureShot 90U. This is actually the most recent film camera that I've bought. I picked this up at an antique store with the box for $10. So this was a sweet little pickup. I won't lie, I have not used this one nearly as much as the other two. The images just weren't as sharp or crisp. It's definitely more compact. It's a smaller camera. It has a decent little zoom to it, and it does take good images when it hits. But I won't lie, I'm just gonna be real. I really bought this for the design. This is definitely my favorite design out of the three. It's got a very 2000s look to it. It's got a very kind of turn of the century, Y2K, Frutiger Aero type vibe to it. And I really like it. I may end up gifting this one in the future or like selling it online or something like that. But for now, it stays in the collection and I'm definitely gonna put some more rolls through it. Kicking it off for the SLRs, we're going to have the Minolta X700. And this might honestly be my favorite film camera of all time, or at least my favorite one that I have used and owned. And what makes this one a little more special is that it was actually my dad's back in his military days in the 80s. So my dad had this camera on him, and my dad, like me, where I get it from, keeps things in very good shape. He babies all of his stuff and he takes very good care of it. And this camera is in really mint, pristine condition. It's really as simple as it gets. You know, it's a very user-friendly camera. It's a great beginner camera and professional camera. You know, I think the results speak for themselves. The Minolta Rockcore line of glass is just great. It's affordable. It has great character to it. I adapt them to my Sony cameras also. And on the X700, I've got the 50mm 1.7, and I've also got a 200mm f4 that I thrifted for about $10 as well, that I've been playing with a lot more lately. And I've also been doing some long exposures with this as well. I just bought a shutter release in the past couple weeks, and I've been taking it out at night, trying to get some cool stuff with it. Overall, this is great. This is a great, sidearm for landscape, street photography, for portraits, anything like that. I've taken this camera and I've done it all with it, and it really is just a workhorse. I don't love that it's not fully mechanical. You have to have a battery to cock it back and shoot it at all, which isn't my favorite, but I really love the look of it. I love the feel of it in my hand, and the fact that it's kind of a family piece means a lot to me. So this is probably going to be my daily driver film camera for the foreseeable future. The next and final camera on the SLR list is the Pentax K1000. This is a legendary camera. This is in a lot of photography college classes and high schools across the world. It really is as bare bones as it gets. This, contrary to the X700, is a fully mechanical camera. It looks older, it feels older. I really haven't shot with this thing much since I've been using the X700 so much, but I do need to get back to it. I've taken some beautiful images with this camera over the years. If you're looking for an older vibe and something that's not gonna quit on you in the cold or anything like that, you can use it without batteries. It has a meter internally, but you don't need the batteries to work this camera. So the story behind this one is actually pretty crazy. So a friend of mine that kind of cleans houses and such found this at a deceased person's property that she was cleaning, and the family was kind of just wanting to liquidate everything. And they said, yeah, just kind of take it, sell it, do whatever you want with it, because they didn't want to deal with it. She knows that I'm into cameras, and she saw this, and this actually came in a bag with like 4 lenses, the manual, old batteries, old rolls of film, and all types of stuff. Probably a $500 plus package altogether that I still have. Thought that was funny. I got this from a dead guy. Don't know who it is. Appreciate you though. The camera's in good hands. Kicking it off for the instant cameras I'll be using in 2025 is old reliable, my Instax Wide 210. This is one of my legit favorite cameras of all time. I've had this thing since I was like 15 or 16. I bought this forever ago from one of the homies, Darius. If you're somehow watching this, miss you, bro. Let's hang sometime. But he sold me this at the time, I think for like 60 bucks. We both worked at Ripley's Aquarium in Broadway in Myrtle Beach. I kind of saw him with it one day, and I was like, they make like Polaroid type cameras still? And he's like, yeah, he's like, this one's cool, I don't really use it. He's like, you want it, I'd sell it to you. And the rest was history. I have taken some of my favorite pictures of all time with this camera. Depending on which day you ask me, instant film is my favorite way to shoot photography. There's nothing else like it, nothing else like taking the picture out, waiting for it to develop, especially when the photo hits, which Instax often does. The next 2 cameras are Polaroids, but I'll tell you right now, I'm an Instax fanboy. It's better than Polaroid all day, every day. The formula is better. The wide format has even grown on me more than the square at this point. I do like the thickness and feel of Polaroids a little bit better. But as a whole, Instax is whooping Polaroid ass right now. And you can put that on the record. I love this camera. I have shot hundreds of photos through it. I've got a whole archive with hundreds of photos spanning like over a decade at this point because I'm getting old. I freaking love this thing. It misses a lot. I get crappy photos out of it a lot. But with those, you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking about what heater you're gonna be able to post to Instagram when you're using that photo. You are fully connected to your moment. There's nothing like it. If you haven't shot instant photography, even if it's the Instax mini cameras, I surprisingly don't have one of those, but pick one up and just shoot with it. I'm telling you, it is loads of fun. You will not regret it. One of my favorite cameras I've ever owned in my life. It looks absolutely ridiculous when you're shooting with it. It looks like a children's toy, but there's something very charming about it. There's something very fun about it that I will always dig. Next up for the instant cameras is my Polaroid Sun 600. I will say in the design department, Polaroid is the one whooping some ass. These cameras are gorgeous. There's nothing like them. There's nothing like kind of that open and closed clamshell design and some other cool designs that Polaroid has had. And I've actually got like 8 Polaroids. I find these things all the time at the thrift and antique stores, and I get really lucky with them. I find them anywhere from like 5 to 20 bucks. And if I see them in that price range and they look good, I will scoop it, because 9 times out of 10, a Polaroid is going to work. If you don't know this, the Polaroid batteries are in the film pack. So if you have a film pack that you've used all the way, pop it out and use it as a tester at antique stores and whatnot. You can put it in and the camera should make like the winding noise and all that to kind of tell you if it works. I've put one pack through it, and I have a very funny story about this camera as well. So I have a brother named Mikius, and he is adopted from Ethiopia. He just recently had his 10th gotcha day. He's been with our family for a decade now. At the time, and this was shortly after he just got home, he still didn't speak any English. He was still very new and curious about things. And for whatever reason, the camera was in my mom's room, and it was full of brand new film, and everybody that shops Polaroid knows that their film is ridiculously expensive. And he had wandered into my mom's room and like found it, and I guess opening it and everything like intrigued him. And he just started shooting off shots. He turned it around, shot himself with it, you know, took selfies, just being a little goober for some reason. And it's funny, he actually caught my mom walking in on him and being like, "What are you doing?" Like he kept shooting. And there's literally a photo of my mom walking through the door and catching him. And it's like a huge joke with the family at this point. We always bring it up, and I still have the photos. It's hilarious. Our final instant camera on the list is going to be the Polaroid 1-600. This thing has a really cool kind of sleek 2000s, also Frutiger Aero type vibe to it. And I haven't used this yet, which is why I really want to use this one this year. I think I'm going to make this one kind of a carry with me on trips and whatnot, just keep it in the truck, and it works. I got this for $5 at a yard sale. I tested it with an expired roll of film, or a spent roll of film, I should say. It seems like it works. So I want to run a roll through it. I love the way it just looks like a printer. It looks like a dumb little fax machine or something, and it's honestly very cute. And I love that the button, when you pop it open, it like pops up the viewfinder. It's just got a really cool design to it. They don't make stuff like this anymore for some reason, and I don't understand why, because like there's a huge wave of just Y2K nostalgia right now because we all hate the current reality we're living in, you know? But I would love to see more things built like this in the future, and I'm definitely gonna put a pack or two through this year. Finishing things off with the camcorder category, first we've got the RCA Auto Shot, I believe. Can't find a specific name on it, but I'm sure one of these numbers on the bottom kind of coincide with it if you want to look it up for yourself. But I got this thing for $50 on Marketplace, and it fully works. It is a great little mini DV camera. Word of advice, if you're going to buy a camcorder in the modern age, I probably would go with mini DV. I guess it's technically not analog, but it's still a tape with like tape in it, and you put it in and you convert it pretty much the same way to digital as any other type of tape. And I think it's the same. It does everything it's supposed to do. I think she overcharged me a little bit. I would have loved to get something like this for like $30. I don't love paying like over $25 for camcorders. And for what they go on eBay, I know that's kind of crazy to say, but I'm telling you, if you are loyal to the hunt and go to thrift stores and antique stores, you will find camcorders for under $50. Flea markets as well are a great place to find camcorders. This has been a workhorse for me, very fun. I love the size of it as well. Camcorders can get really big, really fast, and I really like how this one feels in the hand. I'm not mad at it. Definitely gonna use it more in 2025. The last camera I'm gonna show y'all today is one of my most prized possessions in my whole collection. This is the Sony Handycam TR96 Video 8 camera. The reason this camera is infinitely special to me is because pretty much my whole childhood was shot on it. This is the family camcorder, and it really kicked off my love of video. You know, keeping up with the theme of my dad taking very good care of things. This thing does not have a scratch on it. It is in absolutely beautiful condition, and I plan to keep it that way. This thing is kind of just museum worthy to me at this point. You know, so much of my formative years were captured on this. It's really crazy to think about the connection that this camera has to my life. You know, it really kicked off my love of video. Seeing my dad, you know, run around with this thing and film us with it and all that, it lit a fire in me. It really did. And I always wanted to use it. I was always begging my dad to use it. And towards the end, as we got into the 2000s and stuff, when my dad had upgraded to like a DVD camera at that point, me and my brother Caleb ran around the house and filmed each other with this. We made little commercials with it. One thing that I really love about camcorders is the fact that you can edit internally. Like between clips, you can set it to fade to black or to fade to white. And there's so many cool effects that my dad did with this, with like drawings. And I think that that's a feature that we're really missing on modern cameras. I wish that there was a way with digital files on an SD card to be able to like chain them together, similar to how a camcorder just continuously flows organically through a tape, and where we could have like fade ins, fade outs, and like titles and the date and everything. Such cool features that this camera has. And for the time, it was very high quality. I think my dad spent a really pretty penny on this thing. And it's just very cool to think about how far things have come, how much further you can go for the dollar today. This is always gonna be special to me, man. This is worth more than a bar of gold to me every day of the week. That wraps things up for my analog film camera lineup for 2025. I honestly think this is a really kind of sweet collection of attainable and affordable cameras that anybody can get into for a relatively good price. Obviously, prices fluctuate and the market goes up and down, but as a whole, everything on this table should be very attainable, very easy to get. Nothing that you're going to be like put on a wait list for, pay thousands of dollars for, anything like that. And you will get good results. So between the Minolta and a couple of the Canon Sure Shots, I have stuff hanging on my walls. I've got stuff that I've gifted to family and friends. I've got priceless memories that I've created. And it's really just a beautiful thing. So I was excited to kind of let you guys into that world of mine for the day. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, checking this one out and watching it. And if you're not subscribed, definitely join the fam. Let's grow, let's expand, let's build, let's create the vision. Let's link. Let's make moves. Let's make big business moves. Really hope you guys like this one. Let me know what your favorite camera was, which photos were your favorite from which camera, and comment below for sure which cameras you're gonna go into 2025 with, or what you're kind of hoping to get, what's your grail camera. Start some conversations in the comments. You already know I'm about it. I like to chat with you guys. I'll be back soon with more. Peace.
This film was directed by me. Good night.